everyone, it's the Tides Changing here, and welcome to part 7 of Let's Build a Mediterranean House. In today's part, we almost complete the landscaping, so a lot gets done. The first thing that I did was get rid of some of the trees because I was worried that it was a little bit too busy, like that there were a little bit too many trees in there. And now what I'm doing here is I'm just finishing up the fence going around the yard because I kept doing it in pieces in the last episode, but I was like, you know what, I just want to get it all done and over with. So that is what I'm doing now. So I'm just putting in those half walls here all the way around. And then of course I'm putting the wall painting on them now, that same stone paint that I've been using. And now that that's done, I'm just going to put in that fence again. So now the fencing is done around the yard. And what I'm doing here is I'm moving on to doing the pool area because I just kind of wanted to set that up before doing the rest of the landscaping because, I didn't want to landscape and then make the pool and have to redo the landscaping anyway. So I figured it'd be easier just to do it ahead of time. So here I'm laying out the foundation in front of the back of the house there. And I'm just going to be putting the pool on the ground level, which I'm doing now. And I decided to put in that curved piece there to make it look a little bit more interesting. And the pool on this house isn't that big. Like, it's not nearly as big as the one on my Let's Build an Apartment. And that's just because I wanted to keep the cost down a little bit because, pools can get expensive. And I didn't really feel like this house needed that huge of a pool. So I think this is a pretty good size for it. Since the back of this house faces the ocean, I thought it would look really nice to have kind of an infinity pool in here. So it looks like the pool water just kind of continues into the ocean. I'm not sure if it'll look like that when you look at it, but I just thought an infinity pool would be really good right here. And what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of building, I don't know what to call this. It's just kind of like a weird little thing back there. And you'll see you can see those kind of slots right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some of those fountains in there. So I'll just kind of have fountains spraying in the pool and then maybe some rocks in there too. I'm not sure what I'm going to put on the top of it. I have to think about it. I was thinking about plants, but then I don't want to overdo with plants, so I might just put some border and some lights on it and keep it kind of simple. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what I should do with that. I mean, if you guys have any ideas of what I should put on top of that, let me know in the comments. All I'm doing here is just adding in a rock wall there below the pool, because I just thought that would look nicer than having a bunch of plants or, just having it be a hill with rock terrain paint. So yeah, I really like the look of this rock wall here. So I think it adds a pretty nice touch. And I was trying to keep there being some variety with the rocks because sometimes it doesn't look too good when you just have all of the same rock the same way. So I took a few out and then put it in a different kind of rock for a little bit of variety. So it looked more natural, I guess, and just adding the smaller ones on the side there. So here you can see the pool coming along. And now I'm just going to place stairs going from the foundation down to the pool area. But I ran into the issue that I was unable to put the stairs in because of that curved piece there. So unfortunately what I had to do was get rid of that curved piece first, and then I was able to put in the stairs. So there you have those stairs in there, and I think that they look pretty nice. And then I decided to bring that diagonal tile over one so that, it was the same width next to that piece there that sticks out a little further, if that makes any sense, because I like to keep things symmetrical. And here I am starting to put the walls on the pool. So I had it I kept it the kind of sandstone or stone brick pattern that was on the rest of the house there, like under that part that sticks out, and also in here under that area. And then the other parts I made just the top, that brick pattern, and then the rest of it gray, and then made gray floor. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it like that because I feel like maybe there should be more of a pop of color there, like make it green or something, rather than keep everything neutral. So I'll probably revisit that later, but I just kind of wanted to get the basis of how the pool was going to look down so far. And now I'm putting the floor tiles around the pool, so that's how far out, the pool deck area is going to go. So I think that's definitely a good sized pool area. I think the pool's a nice size. Like, it's not enormous, but it's not really teeny either. And like I said before, I didn't want to make things too expensive because I do want my Sims to be able to afford it. So I'm hoping that I can keep this house under 300,000, ideally closer to 200,000, but I tend to go overboard when furnishing the house, so I'm not sure how that'll work. But this isn't one of my hugest houses, so it should be fine. Maybe I can keep it under that. Now I'm just putting the fence on the rest of that pool deck area, and I ran into some issues with those rocks not allowing me to do so. And once again, I was just kind of trying to get the basis of it out, so this is definitely something I'm going to revisit in the next part, but I was just kind of trying to get the general idea of how things are going to look. I decided that I just want to have that railing there go all the way across the back of the pool area, but unfortunately I had to delete those pesky rocks first to be able to go there. So that's kind of the annoying thing, you have to get rid of the rocks first, but every time you're going to change the fence above there, and then you of course have to redo them, so as you see I had to delete all of those to get that to go across. And once again, this is probably not how it's going to be left. I may just use an entirely different fence because, you have that fence all the way around the yard, and I'm not sure that it looks as good on the pool deck, but like I said before, I was just kind of trying to get something down just to, get the idea of how things are going to look. And I did decide to put a half wall there, and I was thinking that that little area would be a good place for a grill and maybe a little roof over it. I don't know, that's kind of a small area, so maybe not a roof over it. But yeah, I think that's a perfect place to put a grill, and then maybe I could have an outdoor kitchen somewhere else back there, minus the grill, but everything else, like the fridge and stove and all. I'll have to see when I come back to that. I'll probably do that in the next part. The next part will pretty much be finishing up the outside of the house. And I don't know why, but my least favorite part of the furnishing to do is always the outdoor furnishing. Like, I'm just not as good at furnishing outdoor areas as I am indoor areas. I don't know why, but I just don't really like it that much. The interior is definitely my favorite part, although it can take a while. And here I just wanted to put a tree up on that corner right there because I like trees and felt like there should be a tree there. But that chestnut tree was a little bit big, and I believe I said in the last part, but I was trying to keep larger trees away from the house. And I was just putting a few bushes in there next to the stairs and then having the path go up to it. So it looks really pretty when you have the camera lowered down by the garden and then look up at those stairs. It just looks so nice. And I'm just touching up the grass, in the areas around here and over there as well. So I think what I was doing was I was just putting a darker terrain paint. Now I'm putting some trees back there, and I'm probably going to have to move that one chestnut tree to the left because it's kind of blocking the view from the pool. And I was trying to keep lower lying plants there so you could see the ocean from any point within the pool. So in here I'm just touching that up. Here I'm just adding some dirt in underneath of those trees there. And I also wanted to put a rock in, a larger rock than I had been using underneath that olive tree right there. So I did that, and then I also want to put in one of those lower lying little trees right there too because, I like to have lots and lots of trees. And I definitely have to get rid of that one chestnut tree or move it over. I think I'll just move it over a little bit. But now I'm moving on to the landscaping over this little corner here, so on the other side. And I wanted to add a little pond in that corner there as well, just because I felt like it would look good there. So I've been doing that a lot lately, adding in shallow little ponds. I just think it looks really nice and adds a nice, interesting look to the landscaping. And now I'm just putting some dirt in underneath of there and trying to make it soft so, it doesn't overpower the grass. But this dirt is a little bit darker than, I guess, what would look good there. So now I'm just trying to touch on some spots, and then I got rid of it in favor of a lighter dirt, which I thought would look better and a little more subtle, so I like that more. And after that is done, I added in a tree there in that corner, as well as a rock. Now I'm just putting some dirt underneath, and I'm also putting in some bushes there, and once again touching that up with the dirt. Here I also put in some cattail-like plants in the corners, just something I always do with these little ponds, just to make it look really nice. I like having the cattail plants and some rocks in there as well, just touching that up with the dirt. Here you can see how that lake is coming along, and now I'm just continuing that stone path around this way. So it's kind of like the stone path goes from the front all the way around the side up to the pool area, and then I guess it's kind of like you walk up onto the pool area and then it continues around the other side. So there's just kind of a path going all the way around the yard, although the Sims probably won't actually use it. They'll probably cut through the grass because that's what they tend to do. Here I'm just adding a few plants there next to that fence just to keep things interesting, and I took out those flowers so it wasn't too busy. and just adding in another tree there and a tree there, so you get a nice shade over that path. And like on the other side, it looks really pretty when you lower the camera over the water and look up, like kind of like you are now, but you know, at an angle pointed more up. It looks really, really nice. And now I'm just adding some grass over the lake so it's not all dirt in the middle of it. Now I'm moving on to the landscaping beside the house, and I just wanted to raise the ground up next to that a little bit to make it more of a hill. And also I wanted to get some of that ivy there and put it there as well. So I have it in that spot right there on the ground level and also on the first floor wall. And I just think the ivy looks so nice, and it kind of adds to the Mediterranean theme. And, you know, as you can see there, it's also underneath that window. I'm probably going to add more of it in the next part, because like I said before, the next part will mainly be finishing up the outside, and it may even be the next part or two. I'm not sure how long it'll take, but the week after next week should definitely be moving on to the interior of the house, which I'm pretty excited to get to because the styling would be a little bit different than what I normally do. Getting back to what I'm doing here though, now I am adding in the stone terrain paint onto that hill there. Once again, you know, lightly putting it on and also touching it up at the base a little bit. So now that that's done, I'm just putting darker grass on the top and continuing that path along over to that door right there going out of the basement. And I'm putting in another chestnut tree right there at the base of that hill, just because I thought that area needed a tree. And I had the issue of it showing in the house, which drives me nuts. Like, I know when you go close to it, the tree doesn't show, but I don't like, I think when you go into tab mode, the trees all show, so then it ends up showing the house. So I kept trying to put, you know, different ones in until I got one that was a little bit smaller, because sometimes, you know, if you reselect it again, it's a random size. So I was trying to get a smaller one that wouldn't show into the house and that I could still have in that area. And I did find that. Here I'm just putting in a few plants next to that door right there, and not really making it into a flower garden, you know, with the rocks bordering it. They're just kind of there. And here I'm putting in the darker grass next to that path and an olive tree, or no, actually a smaller tree in there as well. Just because I thought that the olive tree would be a little bit too much because there's so many trees, so I just want to have something there, but I just put in something a little bit lower lying. Here I am just continuing the path over all the way to the driveway, so now the path going around the house is pretty much complete. Here I'm moving on to that hill there because I wanted to bring it out a little bit so, you know, it sloped a little more gently. So here I am doing that. So I'm just using the raised terrain tool to kind of raise it up a little bit and then smoothing it out. And now I am adding that stone terrain paint to the hill. Here I am just going to add a few plants to the hill there. So here I'm putting in some bushes, and then I'm also adding in an olive tree and a flower, just because, you know, once again, to keep things a little more interesting up there. So here you can see what that side of the yard looks like, and I think it's coming along pretty nicely. And now I'm just touching up with the darker grass over here. And after doing this, I wanted to put in a few bushes right there. I didn't want to put any trees there because I didn't want to get too busy. So I felt like just putting in a few plants was fine, just to add something there. So now I'm just putting the dirt terrain paint over that. Here I'm adding in another chestnut tree there, which I'm kind of worried I have too many trees. Like, I really like trees. It looks kind of busy when you look at it from far away, but then when you go in closer and look at the yard from a closer view, it looks a lot better. Like, it does look pretty cluttered from the, you know, all from when you go further out, but it just looks so much better when you view it from close. And here I'm adding in a little playground, just a swing and a slide, that's all, and I just added some dirt under it. I may change that later because I'm not sure about how I feel about just having that dirt terrain paint there. And I'm adding in another chestnut tree into that corner and another one on either side, and just putting some bushes in underneath them as well. And now I'm adding that dirt terrain paint. That is all that I did this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. Subscribe if you aren't. And the next part will be up on Tuesday. Thanks for watching, and bye.